Hi guys, Drew here. Thanks for checking out my She Who Walks Between the Worlds channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about crystal TLC, taking care of our crystals, and some good ways to do that. Crystals can be a really powerful ally, and as such, we need to take care of them and maintain them. There are several different ways of going about it. First, I want to talk about cleansing. There are so many methods for cleansing your crystals, and I'm sure most of you have heard of them all. But let's start with salt. It doesn't really matter what kind of salt you use. Blessed, not blessed, rock salt, table salt, salt, it's fine. Place your crystal in your salt, and the salt absorbs anything off of the crystal. Now, personally, this is not my preferred method of cleansing crystals because the salt absorbs everything and holds it, and then the salt is useless and it needs to be thrown out or given to Gaia or something. I find it, I find it a bit wasteful, personally. I'd rather use my salt in other ways. Then, of course, you have smudge. You can use white sage, any variety of incense would fall into the smudge category. I also would say that, like this loaded candle I made in my last video is for cleansing and clearing, that using this candle would be an effective way of clearing a crystal, burning it and letting the smoke, just like smudge, peel away the layers of energetic goo on your crystals. Water is another wonderful way, and there are a number of cleansing waters on the market. This one is our Storm Stone Charged water, but running water from the tap or any natural source, of course, is wonderful. Springs, brooks, the ocean, what have you. Cleansing oils can work as well. This is an oil that was created off of Lady Grave Dancer's quartz oil recipe. And while it can be used for many things because it's a quartz oil and there's a big hunk of quartz in there, cleansing is one of the things that I would use it for. Cleansing, protection, many things. Using other stones to clear your stones is also an effective method of cleansing. Smoky quartz is a good stone for cleansing other stones. Selenite is also another wonderful stone for cleansing other stones. And you don't necessarily have to put the stone on top of the other stone. Just being in their presence is enough, especially if you set the intention and you ask them to assist you in that way. Kyanite. This is one of the self-cleansing stones. It doesn't need to be cleansed at all. It is continually clearing itself and other stones in its presence. Crystal clusters. If you watched my crystal personality video, you would have seen that clusters like this are constantly scrubbing everything around them. Citrine. Citrine is a wonderful cleanser of other crystals. Energetic scrubber. Carnelian, another one that's great for energetically clearing crystals. And lastly, I have my teeny tiny little azestulite. I have others, but this is the prettiest, best specimen. Azestulite looks a lot like like snow quartz or quartz with a lot of inclusions in it, but its energy is very different. It is also a self-cleansing stone, never needs to be cleaned, and can help clean your other crystals. Another method of cleansing crystals, of course, is just using your intention and visualization exercises with the crystals. There's soil, earth, Gaia, and you can do as I've done and take a dish of earth and use it that way. Or you can just take your crystals and put them out on the earth somewhere that feels really good to you and ask Gaia to transmute and clear your crystal's energies. Another method is using lunar and solar energies, although I don't personally prefer this method. I prefer to use lunar and solar energies for charging, which brings me to my next topic, charging crystals. Many methods of charging crystals as well. Of course, you can set them in the sun, although if you're going to set your crystals in the sun, you need to do so briefly. I would say 30 minutes is your absolute max. Even 15 minutes is probably the most you should do. Most crystals will be okay in the sun, minerals in particular, but for instance, fluorite and amethyst tend to bleach. You have to be careful. They will lose their color in the sun. Other crystals may as well. And quartz, actually, if it gets overheated by sitting in the sun too long, can crack, because there are a lot of times inclusions within the quartz that contain gas, and when superheated it expands and cracks. And so if you don't want to accidentally damage your crystals, charging them in the sun should be a very limited thing. I would even suggest doing so in the early morning or in the evening when the sun is not quite as intense. Charging them in the moon. Now that, is fine. There's no worry of any kind of damage being done to your crystals, and you can do it for as long as you'd like. These two energies, of course, are very different, and they'll charge your crystals in different ways. In my opinion, it's good to do both so that there is a balance. You can use other stones to charge your stone. This is not a method that I personally have employed, but if you have a big stone, or it doesn't even have to be physically large, but a stone with big energy, you could potentially use it to charge other crystals. Herbs. Herbs can be used, like mandrake or dragon's blood. Again, not a method I have used or particularly would, because for me, I feel like the crystals would probably charge the herbs more than the herbs would charge the crystals, because for me personally, crystals have a far more intense energy than herbs typically do. You, of course, can use your own energy or the energy of people in a group, or the energy of a specific place to charge your crystals. If you live somewhere where there is a natural vortex where the energy is just delicious, yummy energy that's just hanging out, by all means, put your crystals, if you're capable, put your crystals in that spot. Or if you have a particular power spot on your property, that would be a wonderful place to energetically charge your crystals as well. Now let's talk about linking crystals. You can take two crystals and connect them. Now, what I mean by that, when you link a crystal, for instance, this crystal is it's a trigonic record keeper. And I'm not going to go into what that means today. I will be doing other crystal personality videos in the future, and I will go into what that means. But for right now, it's a special crystal. It has specific properties. And while it's a pretty good size, and I do carry it with me a lot of places and do things, there may be times where I don't want to lug around my beautiful trigonic. I can take a smaller crystal, and I have chosen another amethyst just because, why not? Maybe clear quartz. I mean, I wouldn't choose a totally different specimen. Maybe any form of quartz, smoky quartz, citrine, amethyst, ametrine, regular quartz, clear quartz, something of that nature, but I chose an amethyst because I have plenty of it. And you lay the smaller piece on the larger piece, set the intention that these stones are going to make a connection, an energetic connection, and that anywhere you take the smaller piece, it will be connected to the larger piece, and thus you can tap into the properties of the larger piece through the smaller piece, or vice versa. And let it set for at least 15 minutes with this intention in this space that you've created for it. And then when it's done, you can take the smaller piece and it is connected to this larger piece. So no matter where you go or what you do, you can tap into. If I wanted to go far away to a special meditation or workshop or something, and I wanted to have this crystal be connected to this crystal, I could take this crystal and do my meditations for this crystal with it. You could also, if they're linked, cleanse this crystal and thus cleanse this one, or vice versa. All right, let's talk about activating crystals. There are many methods for activating crystals, I'm quite sure. Essentially, what you're wanting to do is to get the crystal going, set an intention of sorts, make a connection, plug it in, as it were. And the way that I personally activate my crystals is to hold them in my hands and then hold it to my heart chakra. And I basically dedicate the crystal to working toward the highest good. I think that's a nice baseline, easy way to activate a crystal. Again, you can do it in a more specific way. But essentially, you're connecting with the crystal and making that crystal active in your environment, in your life, what have you. Programming a crystal. Now, we all know that quartz is highly, highly programmable, and that you can program it for just about anything. But I program crystals that are not quartz. Having said that, when I program a crystal that's not quartz, like perhaps this labradorite, when I do so, I choose a property that the crystal already possesses. Like with quartz, you can do anything, but with labradorite, maybe I would choose to tap into its sort of psychic amplifications, its third eye connections. And so how I would personally do so would be to hold the stone, again the same way I do programming. Hold it in my hands, hold it to my heart chakra, feel an energetic connection with that stone, and then set my intention. I program this crystal to work with me to enhance my psychic abilities, my intuition, and my connection with my third eye. And I would repeat this until I felt it settle into the crystal, until I felt the crystal accept the program, when it felt like it was legitimately set in place. And then I would use the crystal for that purpose when I worked with it. Well, boys and girls, that's what I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed it. And if you do not work with crystals, I highly recommend it. They are quiet friends and allies and energetic brothers and sisters that can assist in so many ways, subtly, without you even realizing it. And if you work with crystals, please show them adequate care. Take care of them. They are taking care of you. And as we know, if we do not take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of others. Well, the crystals need us to help them. They need to be cleansed and charged and looked after so that they can adequately support us on our paths and our journeys. So, love your crystals because they love you. I will stop being a crazy crystal lady now. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you liked this, leave a little thumbs up. And until next time, much love and gratitude.